Hello, welcome to our channel. Welcome back to this channel. Appreciate any repeat listeners. As you know, we're using a little booklet entitled Kamatthana, which is available as a ebook, a download from this channel. You could follow along if you like. Use the book as a prompting to your practice as well. Today, we're on page 27, and the subject matter is trilakkhana, and tri or tie is, I think of it as a tricycle or anything that's three-legged, has three legs or wheels, and those three are anicca, a dukkha, and anatta. Those are Pali language words. And now we're going to see if we can translate them into English so we have a better mental concept of what they mean. These three are the absolute foundation stone of Lord Buddha's teachings. It's impossible to practice the Buddha's teaching without a comprehensive understanding and eventually the direct experience. These three are available as an experience of the heart. They are useless as intellectual concepts. Anicca, inconstant, unsteady, impermanent, and constantly changing. Okay? We know there's change in the world. We experience it every day, certainly morning, noon, and night, and days, weeks, months, seasons, changes in the weather, our hair growing, our fingernails growing, the aging process, and being happy in one moment and discontent in another. We can see easily, anyone, Buddhist or non-Buddhist, can see that the universe is in a constant state of flux. We've had 5 mass extinctions on this planet. We must be heading towards a 6th mass extinction. The previous 5 were not caused by human activity, and yet there they were historically. The astronomers talk about a time when there wasn't a universe, and then there was a universe, and about a time when the universe will collapse again. So anicca is a fairly easy concept. What we're interested in is the way the mind changes and the way our emotions change, moment by moment. There's even something called a mind moment, and sometimes it's defined as a billionth of a second. Of course, no human brain can really conceive of what a billion is, and certainly not by slicing something as short as a second into a billion parts. But the point is, there is this constant change. I saw social scientists estimated we have about 10,000 thoughts a day. I don't think they counted nearly enough, that we have so many thoughts in 1 minute. We seldom maintain our concentration on one thought or one idea, one concept for even 1 minute. In fact, it's quite difficult. In him who perceives impermanence, the perception of not self manifests itself. Well, there's some serious jargon. Perceives impermanence. That, remember, that we just learned impermanence is a English vocabulary for anicca. And this anicca is on the subatomic particle level. The physicists tell us, although they've never seen an atom, that an atom is blinking in and out of existence on the nanosecond level. So anything that looks solid, the body or a road or an automobile, any table, chairs, anything that looks solid is made of atoms, and these atoms are blinking in and out of existence so quickly that it's imperceivable, and everything that's solid looks solid. But under the law of anicca, it's in a constant state of flux. And over time, maybe hundreds or millions or billions of years, this state of flux will deteriorate. We see old houses, old buildings, an old barn or something that's 100 years old, 150 years old, disintegrating out in a farmer's field. So we know no matter how structurally permanent something looks, it's also subject to the laws of anicca. But the second part of this sentence says that insight that everything is arising and passing away in subtle and gross ways easy to perceive and ways nearly impossible to perceive, will also begin to have the understanding, the insight, the direct experience that this is also true for this thing I call myself. And he who perceives not self obtains the liberation of the conceit of I am and reaches Nibbana in this very life. So the direct experience which can be perceived by the mind of non-self, that is what liberation is, that's what enlightenment is, that's what freedom from rebirth is. It's the experience, the heart experience, that the delusion of self has been exposed. And now I see. There's a passage in the Old Testament, before I saw as if through a glass darkly. So, in other words, we're all wearing glasses that distort a reality and keep us from seeing things as they are. And until we, quote, take the glasses off, we can't see things as they are. Plato's allegory of the cave was people living in a cave under various conditions, etc., etc., and one of them escapes. They don't know they're in a cave. They only know this is life. They never said, oh, I wish we had another life, or oh, there's a life somewhere else that's better than this. This is just the life they had. It's the life they had always accepted, generation after generation. And then somebody escapes and discovers there's a sunshine, there's an entire world, even a heavenly world, compared to life in a cave, outside of the cave. And then the conflict arises. How can I ever explain to the people in the cave that they're delusional, that they don't understand the truth, that there is an alternative life? And that was Buddha's dilemma as well. When you tell someone they're not a self, they're not inclined to believe you. I'm just checking here. We're trying to extinguish this delusion of self, which on the previous page we called avidya. Whatever is anicca is dukkha. Now we're going to define dukkha next, but it means if something exists, it's subject to suffering. And the suffering may just be that it's not permanent, that it's in a constant state of flux, and we should not become attached to things that over which we have no control. And we don't have control over much of anything, because everything is in a state of flux. Our relationships are in state of flux. If they weren't, there would never be divorce. People would live in love, quote, happily ever after. But things change. Our children grow up. They change. In some cases, they become people we don't recognize, and they behave badly and get into trouble and so on. So if it exists, whether it's a universe or an atom, it's subject to change, and this change constitutes a definition, one of the definitions of suffering. Impermanence offers the potential for improvement. It confirms the law of karma, that human actions bear fruit, and it emphasizes the development of wisdom. So the good news is that whatever kind of individual we imagine ourselves to be now, there's the potential for change. However ignorant we are, however little we understand about the Dhamma and Buddha's teachings, however little we understand about the way our mind is working or the way the mind is working, however little we understand about what is called human nature, we have the potential to change that ignorance into wisdom. And that's the good news. We're not stuck. It's not inevitable. Karma is not a law that you can't escape. That is, that everything is predetermined. The Buddha did not teach that. Karma influences and is the foundation stone. It's the seed from out of which we have moment by moment life. But because we can behave, think, speak, and behave in a way that is wholesome and beautiful, forgiving, compassionate, etc., we can alter this event, this karma, karmic seeds that we have already planted. We can begin to create more and more beauty, love, and compassion in our life, and in this way create a whole new life. The point is, when we talked about karma in the last talk, it was that I am the creator of my own life. And as such, I have power to create the kind of life I'd most like to have. And in order to gain that power or to manifest that power, we have to practice. We have to make a wise effort. We have to have strong determination. We have to have patient perseverance. Those may all be virtues or qualities that we don't have now. So that's the work we have in front of us. The next one of the three is dukkha. And it can be translated as suffering. It can be translated as ignorance. And remember, ignorance is not that we're not educated. It's that we don't know the truth about life, and we don't understand yet the Buddha's teachings. So here's a quote from Lord Buddha. Monks, what is suffering? It should be said that it is the 5 aggregates of clinging. Now I have to give a little talk about that. The 5 aggregates, which we'll be talking about later in the book in more detail, so I'm going to be brief now. The 5 aggregates are, there's a body, a human body in our case. There is sensations. There is our experiences that arise on the body as a result of the body. These experiences come to us through the 5 senses. Obviously, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and taste and touch. These sensations or feelings arise on the body. Then we know that because we recognize them. That's called memory. Then we can think about it. We can think about the past, think about the future. We seldom live in the present moment. And this capacity to fabricate a whole storyline is called sankhara. And then there's consciousness that all of those 4 things just happened. So those are the 5 aggregates. Now, in other words, once we have a body, actually once we have the idea that we're a person, that idea will eventually lead to us having some kind of body. And if we're a human body, then it's going to have certain characteristics if it's a healthy human body. And that's a law of nature. But the suffering is from identifying with this body and its 5 senses, which Lord Buddha calls clinging, holding on to, being attached to this phenomena that actually is in a constant state of flux. It's governed by laws of nature over which you have no control. It gets sick when it's appropriate for it to get sick. It gets well or it doesn't get well, etc. There's almost nothing we have control over in this whole universe. We're just witness to things, except the potential of becoming the master of what we call our own mind. The second sentence says dukkha, stress, suffering, pain, distress, discomfort. I'm going to add anxiety, doubt. The world seems now to be populated with people who experience great anxiety about absolutely anything. I know someone who said that I can never come knock on their door without phoning them in advance to tell them who I am. This is tragic that we're terrified of someone knocking on our door. And it would be wonderful if they came into contact with Lord Buddha's teachings. It would certainly be a remedy to this form of distress or discomfort. So dukkha is just one way, one word we use for various forms that suffering takes. I'm going to turn the page and finish dukkha at the top of page 28. It says dukkha. It's intolerable, unsustainable, and it's difficult to endure. Those are the extreme forms, whether that's cancer, the death of a loved one, all of the loss of some possession, our house. There are so many natural disasters, hurricanes and landslides and tornadoes and earthquakes and on, and they result in enormous suffering for people because people are clinging to the idea that that should not happen to them. So it's intolerable. Somebody's behavior is intolerable. It's also unsustainable, this idea that things should not change, that things should be permanent. I'm happy now and I don't want there to be a time when I'm not. And difficult to endure the suffering of people in the world, and not just those who have experienced a tragedy. Every day, all of us, whoever's listening to this and everyone else in the world, we are not awake enough to notice how many times during the day, an ordinary, normal day, an uneventful day, how many times we have negative emotions, how many times we don't like something, how many times we are blaming, criticizing, judging, fault-finding, how many times we're impatient, etc. Those are forms of suffering, but they aren't great enough for us to even call them that, partly because we're just used to it. That's just the way life is. One moment we're laughing and having fun, and the next moment we're jealous, envious, etc. So this dukkha is present in consciousness throughout our day and night, and we need to wake up to it. We need to call it by name. Until we do, we're subject to its power and we're unable to rise above it. So dukkha is imperfect, it's unsatisfactory, it's incapable of providing perfect happiness. So anything the Buddha teaches, and this has the power to enlighten us, just this brief sentence, all things that take life, all things that are created, anything that's a thing, including thoughts and emotions, are impermanent. They are subject to anicca, and it is impossible for anything to make us happy. Now, the culture, of course, is selling us the idea that happiness is to be found in the world. It is to be found in a happy marriage, in children that we love and appreciate, jobs, work that we don't mind going to, we might even look forward to going to, and then all the things we can buy with the money that we've earned from working, from getting an education or gaining a skill of some kind, that whether it's thinking of vacation, property, all the activities that we enjoy, people who mountain climb or skydive or potters or artists or musicians or play sports, whatever activity we indulge in, engage in, it is impermanent, it's subject to change because, of course, our body is subject to aging, then we need a facelift and so on. It's impossible for anything that is impermanent, subject to change, to be a source of lasting happiness. And the only alternative is to go within the mind and discover that this happiness, this peace, this joy, this beauty that is not subject to change, which is called nibbana. I'm going to finish here today. The next talk will continue about the forms of suffering, the 3 kinds of suffering, and we'll do that on page 28. Thank you if you've reached the end of this talk. I really appreciate it. I hope you might consider liking or subscribing, and perhaps this Dhamma can reach others and be a blessing to them. Thank you.